where we are in the conversation.
Sounds good.
And we are live. Welcome, everybody, to Nina Goes Live, LinkedIn Straight Talk for coaches and creators. And today I'm super excited to have Mollie with me. And I just see we don't have our little tags there. I should, here we go. Look at that. So now we officially know who we all are. And I'm super excited for today's talk with you, Mollie, because we're both LinkedIn strategists, but we cover completely different areas of LinkedIn. So this is going to be super, super exciting, and I cannot wait to dive in. So why don't you just introduce yourself? Give us a little bit of your background so we kind of know, we have context of your doings and shenanigans on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. So the very first time I've ever been exposed to LinkedIn was as a HR professional. I was in human resources for 20 years. I knew how to use LinkedIn to hire. I joke around that LinkedIn is HR people's Facebook. It's just one of those things that back in the day, you would just scroll, you would do what you need to do, you would find your talent, all the things. Fast forward to when I started getting a little itch to launch my business. I was still in HR and I wanted to be the Instagram aesthetic person. Tried it. It didn't stick. But I was really resistant to LinkedIn. I think a lot of it is because I was just so accustomed to using it in my corporate years that I wanted to try something new. And my business coach at that time just said, what you resist persists. Why don't you just give LinkedIn a go? Obviously, you know a lot about it. Learn how to use it for business. Give it 90 days. And I committed. And Nina, let me just tell you, I fought her tooth and nail for a really long time.
Yeah.
I said, fine. And I did it. Fast forward. Here we are today.
Yeah.
And so I owe a lot of that to my business coach, just lovingly challenging me to lean into LinkedIn, which was a platform that I already felt really comfortable with, right?
Yeah.
I understood how to use Recruiter Lite, LinkedIn Recruiter as an enterprise, and then, of course, Sales Nav in all of my organizations that I supported as well. So it was just kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, well, then now how can I be creative with leaning into LinkedIn now for my own business?
Yeah.
That's how it all came about. And so fast forward to today, as Nina, LinkedIn has our SSI. And when I looked at it, to be honest, I was not expecting to be a top 1%. I'm like, we'll see. And yeah, I rank as that one.
I was going to ask you, so this is good. The top 1% comes from your SSI. Okay.
Correct. Yes.
I might be there too. So I should use that.
You probably are, Nina. You probably are. And that's just one of those things where the social selling index does give you some pretty awesome insights. And again, we're all making, educated assumptions off of these analytics like you would anywhere else. But it does point you in the right direction of, okay, if I wanted to use it for social selling, where do I need to elevate? What am I doing really well at? What do you rank highest on? That kind of thing, right? And so, I always say my jam and jelly is organic cold leads. I have a knack for finding my ideal clients creatively on the free version of LinkedIn. For a lot of my clients are on the free version, and DM sales sequencing. And then, of course, the masculine, feminine energies of sales and how we lean into that for LinkedIn. So, yeah.
Awesome. And we'll unpack a little bit all of that a little bit in our conversation today. So you mentioned organic. You and I see very much eye to eye on this. That we want to make sure that we're not falling into the ick bro marketing. All of that. So I think most people are pretty good at, or at least the people that I'm assuming you as well, but that I for sure work with are quite good with their content. They know how to post. They know how to, they learn from me how to then do the whole engagement strategy of commenting and nurturing, etc. I think the missing piece and where I really would love to go a little deeper with you is sort of how do we now elegantly and without being icky, sticky, bro marketing and salesy, how do we now move the conversation from, so we've posted, somebody's commented, we don't know them yet, we comment them back, so now what? I mean, I have some ideas, but again, I would love to hear from the expert. What is it, what how does it look after that?
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple things that I want to preface with first, and then we'll go into my favorite sequencing that starts to kick off that conversation, right?
Yeah.
So I do think that prioritizing psychological safety is a key sales skill.
Wow.
On LinkedIn, everybody is there to sell for the most part, right? In our world. And so you already have, like you said, those bro marketers that are obviously not prioritizing psychological safety. And that feeling, right, which is how we build that, nurture that trust, is how we first start with that, right? And psychological safety is going to look like behavioral cues for you. Okay. So in your case, right? So let's start with you posted, awesome, someone's commenting, you're starting to engage. If they are not yet a first degree connection, the very first thing you do is send them a connection request, right? Mm-hmm. Now, here's the thing. For all of my beautiful people out there who are either on Business Premium or Sales Nav, and you can bypass that connection request and slide into the inbox and the InMails, I'm going to lovingly challenge you to pump the brakes and not do that. Yes. Why? Because acceptance of that connection request is a sales cue for you. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so if they keep you on pending, like I say to all of my community members, we say, we bless and we release. Thank you. We know why? Because one, our headlines are optimized, our profiles are optimized, our content is speaking to our services. We don't need to poke and prod people to accept connection requests. So that's the first thing. Now, once they accept the connection request, then from there, that very first message that you send can be something that is a very general. I'm going to share my go-to for you guys is just an open-ended, simple, engaging question that has nothing to do with your services, has nothing to do about their services. And here's my go-to. So, tell me more about what you are excited about that I can help to celebrate with you. What's coming up that's exciting? Has nothing to do. Now, as you can tell, it's very open-ended. If they decide to talk about business, great. If they decide to talk about, I was just saying to Nina, my daughter had her 5th grade ceremony yesterday. I'd probably share that. Okay. Now, the reason why you keep it very vanilla and very simple is number one, as you guys know, if you are using LinkedIn for prospecting, eventually you're going to get to a volumes game. You need to be efficient. So we want that first message to be pretty templated. It's really easy. The only thing that you would need to tailor is their name, and you're just going to click, set, post, copy, paste, and send. Now, again, same thing with how we speak and how we see the cues of the connection request. We're going to see it or they're going to not see it. Yeah. We'll respond or they won't respond. Right? Again, we respect where they're at, no matter if it is, oh, I really want to respond back to Mollie's message, but I'm really busy right now, to no, yeah, I'm connected with you. And that's about the only association I want to have with you right now, Mollie, is to be connected, right? We honor that. And if they don't respond, I don't chase, I don't poke. That is how I've been able to really get to protecting my time and energy and only creating conversations and continuing conversations with people who want to engage with me, right? So, I mean, again, at the end of the day, hate to say it, but prospecting is a numbers game. And because you and or your team, even if you have a VA or someone to help you with this, we have to be smart about your time and your energy. Why chase a lead who isn't ready for you, right? So
well, there's also sort of that allergic reaction that I've been seeing people having if you get too, in any way, shape, or form, salesy or pushy in your DMs, right? I mean, so many people, I always ask people what their biggest pet peeve is on LinkedIn. I'll ask you at the end of the show as well. And but I also ask my clients and ask just people I'm on calls with, and 90% of the people I answer, it's a salesy DMs. And what constitutes a salesy DM, I got a real taste of it myself about a half a year ago when I asked my VA. She had dropped something and I asked her to start doing it again, which was reaching out to people who commented on my content that were second or third degree connections, with a, most people now have an open profile, so you can DM them directly without having to wait for the connection request. So send a connection request, but then also say something like, thank you for commenting on my post about X. And the second sentence was something like, looking forward to, I don't know, seeing your LinkedIn content, or looking forward to helping you, potentially helping you with some LinkedIn content or something like that. And I actually had people respond to me with, you are an unethical person. I mean, this was a message I had sent out a year earlier without any backlash. And people were like very nice about it. And all of a sudden, like just a year later, that messaging was completely inappropriate, completely inappropriate. So I pulled the plug as fast as I could. I'm like, stop.
Yeah. And to your point, the way that we sell on LinkedIn has evolved and changed 100%.
Yeah.
I've tweaked my DM sequencing from the very day that I started this 8 years ago. It looks very different.
Oh yeah.
For sure. And I think that some of those, as I had mentioned, when you can prioritize and keep that psychological safety and really listening to their sales cues that they're giving to you at the forefront of it, then however which way you change how you say your message, it's going to honor those two things, right? And that's why I keep saying that very first message is incredibly important, because it doesn't flag anything crazy. Even though, Nina, your message had no malintent. It was actually very like, I can't wait to engage in your content to learn more about you, right? Yeah. And I think that, to your point, I think there's a lot of the AI stuff today, the bots that are making for the DM sales sequencing to, dare I say, and I say this loosely, it gets to a point where even for me in my business and how I'm teaching social selling, I want to be careful to, are we going towards more of is this becoming antiquated in the way that we sell? Because AI is here to stay. Automation is here to stay.
Yeah.
And if that is how they are going to sell, do we separate ourselves by saying then, okay, you guys stay with the DMs. I'm going to now sell in different ways, right? So there's so much going on in my mind of staying top of mind, but also on top of the current state of AI and automation. So that's for a whole nother topic.
And I'm actually not even opposed to not picking that up a little more, because, if you're not using DMs, then basically you've got the comments, or you're taking them off platform. And what we are practicing with our community and my membership is moving the comments. Like we haven't even, we don't even talk about DMs in my membership. We started focusing a lot more, not just, when we started this community 4 years ago, it was all about posting and getting comments and looking good. And then, moving conversations to DMs. Today, it has changed drastically. The posting is sort of it's an afterthought in a way. The commenting in a way is as well, the first round of commenting, but then commenting on the comments and trying to start generating threads in the comments and continuing a public conversation that also allows the commenter to shine with their opinions, follow-up questions, or comments, allows for a public discourse that can also lead into a sales call or into a conversion. So that's what we are practicing and seeing that that is LinkedIn actually loves that, right? They love threads. They love when you have more comments than likes, for instance, and you have lively discussions on your posts.
Yes, absolutely. I love that you talk about that, because there is that moment of, okay, how do we, and you hit it right there. It's the conversation.
Mhm.
If there's one thing that I want for everyone to understand how to sell on LinkedIn, sales happens in conversations.
Yeah.
And so if we can prioritize conversation that can be sparked creatively, right? With or without the DMs. Now, like I said, I love some DMs sequencing. I'm really great at that. And it's not the only way. It's not the only way for you to generate those conversations. So I love that. Absolutely. Very aligned.
Yeah, and I mean it has its faults as well, because it's messy. You have to kind of remember where the conversation was happening. Somebody might drop the at mention, and then you don't even have a notification that there was another comment on your comment of the comment of the comment. So
True.
it's not perfect, but it can work really well if you're staying on the ball and if you're present on LinkedIn. So tell me a little bit about just prospecting before we even get into the DMs, or we are reacting to people who have been connecting with us. How can we actively, with or without, like my membership, I think barely anybody has sales nav. I don't have it anymore. How do you go about prospecting because I know that the cold prospecting is something that you talk about a lot.
It is. It is. And here's the thing, right? One of my clients said this perfectly. She said, cold leads are gold, right? Cold is gold. Why? They're abundant. You're never going to run out of cold leads ever.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the rule of thumb here when it comes to prospecting on LinkedIn is to be as creative as you can be and to follow the behaviors of your ideal clients. Okay. I can rattle off some of my favorite places to find organic leads. Okay. And before I do that, a big piece of this is training your algorithm to show you who and what you want. Many of you guys know, if you guys are on your newsfeed, the algorithm is really smart. It will suggest different posts for you. It will suggest different profiles for you to look at. It will give you sponsored ads based off of your activity and the things that it thinks that you want to see. I have curated my newsfeed so that I don't have to go anywhere else but my newsfeed to find my leads. Okay. Now, for those of you who are like, wait, that's great, but that's not where I'm at yet right now, where do you find that? I want for you to first think about your ideal client. When they're coming on to LinkedIn, where are they going? What are they doing? Are they engaging in a LinkedIn group? Are they looking for a LinkedIn learning course? Are they going to be attending a LinkedIn event? What does that look like for them? Okay. Now, with that being said, some of my favorite places to look for organic leads is for those of you, and this is going to be a tip for all of my fellow LinkedIn experts as well. I'm sure you guys are probably doing this, but let's just cover the bases. If you are not following LinkedIn marketing and LinkedIn sales pages, the amount of content that they put out there, the likes, the engagement, the comments, that's a leads list for you, baby. Okay. So every single time I get an email delivered into my inbox from LinkedIn marketing, I'm saving it into my lead gen folder. I'm coming back to it to mine because they have amazing content on there. I'm not going to sit here and try to make it harder for myself. You follow the breadcrumbs. Okay. Start with your current and former clients, the ones that you love. Okay. Whoop, I just talked about turning things off here. Hang on, Nina.
All good.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. With that being said, right, another thing here is when you go into your current and former clients' profiles, on the right hand side, similar profiles for you, more
Yes.
profiles for you.
Yeah.
Work smarter, not harder. Let the algorithm do the work here, my friends. Okay.
Right.
And they always give you 20 more. So follow the breadcrumbs.
Yeah. So I think a couple of things here that are really, really interesting. And, I think we do these things without realizing that we do them, and we could do them much better and with a lot more intentionality. So, so with the changes that the algorithm has, made in the last year, thanks to AI, that your topic fingerprint, as they call it, is so important, right? So making sure that you pay attention to what the feed shows you. I literally, there's probably old shows you can see of mine where I joke and I say the most boring thing in the world is the LinkedIn algorithm, the LinkedIn feed. And there is never ever been a time in my life where I've wasted an hour of my life going into the LinkedIn feed. That has changed.
100%.
I'm now seeing shit that I actually care about. And I have wasted. Now, again, I'm a LinkedIn strategist, so it's not wasted time, but I have wasted time that wasn't planned. Let's put it that way on the algorithm, on the feed, because the algorithm is feeding me now what I want to see. And again, I don't think it's an instance of throwing out the baby with the bathwater. It's just being conscientious on curating going forward, right? I think that is the best way to go about that, and sort of stick to your topic lane. That is now become more important than ever on LinkedIn. For those who are not initiated, so the emails that we get from LinkedIn, is that a settings thing? Because I know a lot of people do not get those emails.
It
So,
is, yes. And so if you, first off, we want to turn on the little notification bell, right, that most of the pages have, but it
mhm,
is set in your settings and privacy. It will say, okay, how do you want those emails? And I get it. I get it. We don't need any more, emails coming in and inundating our day.
yeah,
And if your ideal clients are on LinkedIn, I highly recommend. Like I don't even look at them. I save it, I
yeah,
open it, and I put it to the side for when I am intentionally prospecting for my day.
yeah,
Then I go back and look, okay?
yeah,
And let's be real, okay? We have to start seeing where those leads can be literally in front of us. All you
mhm,
got to do is look. And if you look a little bit closer, you'll see, oh my gosh, this post, yeah, I can see where my ideal clients would want to engage in that, would like it. I'm going to go ahead and save those posts as well, right? And so anytime you save, as you guys know, it signals to the other, oh, okay, this is great. This
mhm,
is a good thing. Save those posts and those sponsored ads as well. Again, we scroll past those because we think
mhm,
they're annoying. But if it's a sponsored ad that you know your ideal clients are going to be a part of, right? So, for example, I'm looking at my LinkedIn right now, and there's a promoted ad for careervillage.org. Okay, this organization is on my newsfeed frequently as part of the promoted ads. Career coaches who are my ideal clients are
mhm.
all in there. They're commenting, they're sharing their thoughts, they're supporting people looking for a new career. So why would I not save that? So I'm going
But
to go
it
do that.
signals not only are you doing the author a favor, because saving is the most valuable thing you can do to a post for the author, it also signals to the algorithm that this is something that interests you and is part
100%.
um, of your topic fingerprint, and you want to see more of, right?
Absolutely. I love that. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And that's what we say when I say train your algorithm, that's what that means. It's just little clicks. It's clocking everything you're doing.
Yeah. So let's say I'm looking at the more like this on the side, or I have been prospecting who's seeing who's been commenting on topics that are my clients that are my prospects are interested in, and I have a list. So now what I do now, we're going back to the DMs, of course, or do we have a commenting strategy, or do we, or both?
Yes, it is both and, I will say. Okay.
Ooh.
So yes. So one of the things that I think it's pretty assumed, let's just say it's a safe assumption to say, when you are prospecting and you start sending out connection requests and you're doing outbound prospecting to your ideal clients, most of the time I'm going to say that the pathway goes into DM sequencing, right? Pathway number one, absolutely, you try to generate that initial conversation, all the things that we talked about at the beginning of this chat. Okay. The second option, of course, is through the engagement, through the commenting, 100%. Because remember, as a new connection, if you guys have noticed, your new connections bump up to the top of your news feed right after they accept. So
Yeah.
that's a great time for you to truly be authentic, supportive, engaging, and what I like to say, experiential. Okay.
Mhm.
This is that time where, yes, it's going to take a little bit more effort and energy from our side, but comment in a way that really reflects
Yep.
you, right? The way that you would talk. And
Mhm.
then the third, the both and, is what I like
Mhm.
to call the combination of experiential sales and active sales on here.
Yeah.
Prospecting, okay, when we grow our first three connections, it's
Mhm.
also so that we can get them in to our sales ecosystem.
Yep.
Okay. Now, I love doing what I call experiential sales.
Mhm.
What Nina and I are doing today is experiential.
Yep.
What you're doing is you're watching, you're listening, you're tuning in, you're getting a flavor of this crazy Molly Lowe. Who is she? What is she all about? Right. And you're coming to your own conclusion of, oh, yeah, I never really thought about it that way. Aha. Okay, cool. Right. I'm giving you the spaciousness to
Mhm.
come to your own decision of, okay, do I want to connect with her? What am I seeing? Do I like what she's saying? Is this something that I need? Okay, that's all experiential. In a nutshell, how are we able to offer a sample of our
Mhm.
services, our product on a little toothpick, right? Just like if you guys remember back in the mall, when the mall was the place to be on the weekends, orange chicken on a stick, right? That's what it was.
Yep.
Everybody, once you had that orange chicken at the mall, you're in line and you're buying the fried rice, the lo mein, and the orange soda and the large styrofoam cup. That's what we're doing on LinkedIn is we're giving people experiences of us. Okay. Now, I specifically love doing this on LinkedIn events.
Mhm.
Someone joins my LinkedIn event, they're experiencing me. And because at that point, that is a beautiful way for us to generate two-way conversation.
Mhm.
Experiential sales is the most powerful when you can generate a two-way live conversation.
Yep.
Then you go in to invite them to continue the conversation. And that is the next step of active sales. Okay.
Yep.
Now, for me, I offer a low ticket strategy session, right? Mine is
Mhm.
$26. Literally.
I saw that. I was
Yeah,
going to ask you about that. I'm like,
yeah,
that.
literally. Like, there is no, it's yeah, it's $26, $26, but at the same time, it's only $26, right?
But I mean, I have a free strategy session, which no
Yeah.
one ever takes me up on. I mean, I shouldn't say no one ever does, but very few people, surprisingly few people do. But I love the idea. That's like our accelerator where we charge $7. And it doesn't
Exactly.
matter. It could be $1, it could be $50, but they have to put their credit card down,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Put a
And
value.
yeah, that's the active sales side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And and what I've learned in 2026, now this is just probably going to ebb and change as we go, but I'll tell you this right now. You have something like what Nina shared, right? An accelerator for a low ticket of $7. If you have a strategy call like I do for $26, anything, what I found is anything under that $49, $47 and under, right?
Mhm.
But it has to be at least a dollar or more, actually does really well when it comes to click and buy offers
Yep.
on LinkedIn. Okay. So yeah, back in the day, I was able to sell 197 easy. Now there's a little bit more discernment with that.
Yes.
Absolutely. We get that. So we meet our prospects where they are and literally did this. I did my event last Tuesday. From Tuesday, I had 12 people purchase
Mhm.
strategy calls with me, which we all know is now going to get converted into now potential upsells. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're creating these opportunities for one, experiential of Mollie. What can she do? How can she help me? They're going to get one-on-one customization with me on that strategy call. And then from there, if it feels right, if there's mutual fit, we can continue the conversation. And that, my friends, is the power of experiential and active sales while leveraging things like LinkedIn events to help you do that.
No. I mean, I think it's brilliant because I mean, I sell my membership, but I've never tried selling a low ticket sales call, basically, right?
Yes, that is exactly it.
Yeah.
You and you know, I'm saying something that I know I'm preaching to the choir too.
Yeah. No. I
Right?
mean,
Yeah.
all of this is so duh. But, I've never put a structure around the part of LinkedIn that you cover because it just always worked well enough
Mm.
to not have to. But there's also there's always room for improvement, and and as I'm growing, the working well enough is not good enough anymore, right? There needs to be structure. So I'm going to book one of those calls for sure.
I can't wait.
So the prospecting, I mean, ideally, we all know who our ideal client is, right? I mean, I think that's pretty clear. I mean, I have a nice list. I do less of drives a Volvo, has 5.3 children and a half a dog and two husbands.
Right.
But I do more of sort of a psychological profile because I think that just suits us better as a company. But so if I'm looking at all these different profiles, how do you manage those so you're not going into? I always have a little bit of a tendency of going into immediate overwhelm because then I'm looking at the profile, then I'm get down the rabbit hole of a profile. How do you have any good ways of managing that? Because LinkedIn doesn't really help you, manage this at all.
Yeah, and it really doesn't, unfortunately,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
then so
It's been a feature I've requested since day one, and day one was about 8 years ago. So
same.
let's get with it.
Oh gosh, Nina, I joke around, but I'm half serious. People
Yeah.
like us, I joke to my community. I have a long list of things that I know if LinkedIn would just do this one thing, that it's going to then change the experience for us and
Yeah.
also the usability, right? But nonetheless, yes. So here's what I'm gonna say, right? Whether we like it or not, especially when it comes to prospecting, LinkedIn is demographic first. Okay,
Mhm.
meaning one thing we need to do is, and here are some of the key things that I want for you guys to look at. Now, Nina, of course, you and I are supporting similar audiences. So I'm just going to use both of our businesses as an example. Okay. When we come across a profile, I'm going to be looking at one, name, pronouns. Can I support everyone? Yes, but my favorite are women in business. So I'm going to make some pretty educated guesses based off of your name, your photo, and your pronouns. Are you going to be an ideal for me? Then I'm going to check geographic location. I prefer to work with those in North America. I've supported everyone from Australia to New Zealand. Totally cool, but that's where I want to start. Okay.
Mhm.
Then I'm going to go down and you guys can visualize this is how I'm looking, and I'm pre-qualifying their personal profile. Then I'm going to go down to their about section. Sometimes it says stuff in there, especially the top skills that they have it listed. It's going to help me to see. For all of my career coaches, they will say on there, interview, salary negotiations, those are their top skills. All right. Then service marketplace. Do they have their business officially open up on service marketplace? I will then scroll down to the experience section and I will take a look. Do they have a company page? How long have they been in business? Okay.
Yeah.
That will take me anywhere between 5 to 6 seconds to go ding, 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 ding. Great. Okay.
Mhm.
Then I'll go ahead and send a connection request. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, this is where it gets kind of funky. For all of my psychographic people, this is why giving a little bit of space in between sending a connection request, getting it accepted, and starting that first message is important, because your content, which Nina is the best for helping you do that, right? is where you fill in the gaps for the psychographic things. This is where your content speaks to the things inside their brain,
Yeah.
inside the hearts of hearts. And we all know, depending on what your cadence is, if you are only posting twice a week, you are going to want to make sure you're giving enough wiggle room a week before you start to have those conversations, because you want this new connection to consume your content. You are going to be talking, correct. You're talking about the psychograph. So now they're starting to think, okay, wow, they hit your demographics. Now your content is going to help to filter out if they align with your psychographics. Okay. And then when it comes to the organization perspective, right? Listen, I wish there was a better system to organize and to stay on top of your DMs and the way that people send you messages. A lot of it is just making that time to prioritize to ensure you're not missing some. And even me, I will overlook, because gosh dang it, every time I go into my inbox, it automatically marks the first message is read. I didn't read it yet, right? It's those kind of things, right? That keeps you organized.
Or making sure your VA marks it again unread once they listen in. Yeah.
100%, right?
That's the issue that we have as well. Yeah.
For sure. My cadence right now is I prospect Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and I respond to DMs and InMails on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that's my cadence that works for me on how I can manage and organize that.
Do you put people immediately into a spreadsheet, or only when do you take them? Like, when do they go into a CRM or a spreadsheet?
Yep. They only go into my CRM when they go into my sales funnel, my ecosystem, where they've paid something for me or they booked a formal sales call.
Okay, that makes sense. So I'm hearing you, it's content. It's connect, let them consume some of your content, and then it's DM.
Correct.
And and what we're doing is connect, content, comment. So which works as well, right?
Absolutely.
It can be an and, not an or. It's an and, not an or.
Yeah, correct.
So it's I love that. I really love that. That's a great way of breaking it out. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think too, and in full circle, right? I mean, again, we can't talk about our LinkedIn strategies without integrating a little bit of the AI and the automation things. And I think, right? Yeah. Our focus is human centric, right? It's human centricity. And so when you're giving your prospects the space to consume, to come to their own assumptions and awareness of who you are, your services, okay? Then at which point they also know, oh, Mollie's not a bot. She didn't automatically respond to me with a tripwire response, right? Yeah. And I hate to say that, but that's the reality that we live in.
And I think that is so important, right? To not have that. That's why I always had the outreach, if somebody commented on my content that was not a connection yet, or that was not a regular, that thank you, we always made sure that we included which post it was, so it didn't seem like a tripwire, right? So it was clear that there had been a human hand in there somewhere, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
This is great. I could go on forever, Mollie, but we're up on time. And Kimberly Boyd said this is a great conversation. So thank you so much, Kimberly, for joining us and for listening in. And there's, LinkedIn sometimes doesn't show you all the people that are like on StreamYard. You can't really see who's all listening in. So we'll see in the comments what happened after this. So then there is my final two questions that I ask all of my guests on this show, which is, what is your biggest LinkedIn pet peeve? Which I kind of already told you that was coming.
Yeah. I think my biggest...
I'm sure there's a longer list.
I know, right? Yeah, but the one that comes up top of mind, which we're already talking about, right? It's okay for us. I think it's giving permission to say, I'm going to use LinkedIn to sell, right? Yep. And again, doing it in a way that prioritizes the sales cues and the psychological safety. So here's my biggest pet peeve. Those people who have headlines that go directly into some type of sales pitch. I have a list that says Mollie's headline X. And every time I prospect and I come across someone's headline, I'm like, oh no, I know what you mean. We're here to sell, right? But in your headline is not the best place for you to be selling. So if you say, DM me this for my ebook, or, and especially the coaches who say, I've worked with 100,000 clients, book now, right?
So did 100,000 people fire you because you were that bad and you didn't stick with anybody?
Yeah, right. Like you're letting us make our own assumptions about things. And while I get it, your headline is not a place for you to direct sale. Like your headline is here to invite people to want to be a part of your community.
Yes.
We all know if you're too hard of a salesperson, people are not going to accept your connection request.
Yeah, that's where the ick comes in big bold letters. Yeah. And then what do you see? And it might be the same, but what is the biggest mistake you see people make on LinkedIn other than being too salesy in their headline?
Yeah. And, and I think on that side, I'm going to elaborate too, is feeling like you're selling too much, right? I think that there's this, it's a double-edged sword. I think that a lot of the times when I work with my clients, I'm like, well, have you tried this? No, I don't. We think we are selling a lot, but we're really not, right? And so a big part of this is I wish more people would lean into understanding how to embrace experiential sales and active sales that is going to help you get the return on your investment for the time, the energy, and if you're on premium or sales nav, the financial return on your investment.
Yeah. That is so important. And I think, and that's where we talk to our clients a lot about, CTAs, and that because when people hear like call to action, like, oh, sales, I'm like, no. There's low friction. There's high friction. High friction is salesy, but low friction is just asking for engagement, right?
Correct.
Simple engagement. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Mollie, I know you and I will continue our conversation.
Absolutely.
For sure. And I so appreciate that you came on and gave us some of your beautiful nuggets. I always do conversation highlights, but I feel like I just want the whole conversation is one big effing highlight. It's been a wonderful conversation, and I learned a lot for one. So thank you for your time.
You're so welcome.
And I look forward to continuing the conversation for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for sharing your community with me and all the things. And as always, yes, let's continue this conversation. I can't wait to continue surrounding myself with fellow experts. That's why I love.
I mean, me too. That's why I have the show, because I want to go into other people, because I can't cover everything. So
absolutely. Yes. Thank you.
The link in your profile title, that is the link to the $26 call, right?
I believe it is. Yep. If not, absolutely, I'll go ahead and drop it in the comment section of Nina's live here, so we can get a little bit more of that. So I'll go ahead and make sure that it's correctly in there for you all as well.
Great. And I'll put in the show notes as well. And again, thank you so much. And Lori Shields, who is a new member in my community.
Oh,
great, chock full of information. So you're very welcome, Lori. I learned something too. So this was great. All right. Thank you to everybody. And we'll see you next month with a new conversation of Nina Goes Live. Bye.